No puedo esperar regresar a Mexico, comer más de la comida allá. Hi guys, welcome back. If you missed my last video, I talked about some things that I did not expect before getting married to a Mexican. That's my wife, Daisy. She's from Monterrey, Mexico. Our son was born in Monterrey, Mexico, and it's definitely a big part of our relationship and who we are. We actually lived there in Monterrey for a year. Whenever some sort of like little cultural difference does pop up, I like to write it down so that I can later, share it with you guys, and things that I think might be interesting to people that are wondering about our bicultural relationship. So this is a part 2. One thing I've noticed with being with Daisy, as well as just getting to know Mexican culture better, time frames for things are a little bit more chill. Let's take like parties, for example. It might start at a certain time. It's definitely like acceptable and also very common to not arrive at the start time. And people just kind of know if the party starts at 6, then you might expect people to start rolling in maybe closer to 7, or, in some cases, not always. Whereas I think American culture, depending on where you live, it's more fast paced, it's more boom. Like if you, even in casual settings, let's say I'm selling something on Facebook Marketplace, if you set up a time with somebody, you're really expecting them at that time. It's been kind of fun seeing the differences with that and having to adjust a little bit and also just appreciate it for what it is. Obviously in Mexico and everywhere else, there's time frames that need to be adhered to, especially in professional settings or really important matters. But overall, I think it's a good reminder for me to slow down, to be okay when things don't go exactly like you're expecting as far as like time frames and stuff like that. I mentioned in part 1 that Daisy really helps me to try to get better and better with like career and just, my life trajectory. And I really appreciate that. And another thing that she does along those same lines is really try to up my game with clothing. And man, I have just been so happy with my comfortable clothes. To me, clothing is all about comfort and a little bit about style. She's really helped me see that hey, if you want to make a good impression, you really need to up your game with style and ease up a little bit on comfort. And there's totally times and places where she's totally cool if it's more on the comfortable bum side, sweatpants and whatever. I'll have a favorite shirt that I've had for years. It's just so comfortable and so soft, and she's just but it looks really terrible, and it's, it's faded and it's got the little, cotton balls all over it and everything, and you need to let go. You need to get something better. It's okay. It's kind of embarrassing, and I really appreciate that about her in trying to, get me to care a little bit more and dress up for the right occasions. Something that's kind of funny to me is Daisy really doesn't like silence. I think the culture of Mexico is so infused with music and dancing, and it's just such a large part of their culture. Here in America, there's definitely pockets of that. For the most part, I think us Americans are a little bit more on the cold, not as expressive in that way with dance and music, generally speaking. And so when we have things like family parties or meals with even just the two of us, but also especially with company, Daisy definitely needs some background music or something playing, maybe the TV, or so that there's just not silence and gross chewing on my part. So it's been kind of fun, is now I'm getting more used to it, where it's okay, if we sit down to lunch together, I already know to put on one of our favorite YouTube channels or music or something, so that she feels at home and feels comfortable. Believe it or not, tacos and salsa and a lot of your typical Mexican food that you think of is quite simple in Mexico. We tend to overcomplicate how we do it here in the US. It's okay, you want to make tacos? Let's put in this and this and this. Let's add tomatoes and cream cheese or not cream cheese, whipped cream and shredded cheese and some lettuce in there. And I was that is not how it is in Mexico at all. It's very simple. It's the best grilled meat you can imagine, with grilled onions and some cilantro and a salsa in there. Oh man, you guys already know how much I love Mexican food. Less is definitely more. Same things with the salsa. There's just a few key ingredients for a good Mexican salsa that not only scorch your mouth, but taste so good as well. And that's something I definitely wasn't expecting and have been learning over the years with Daisy and her family. I feel Owen Wilson. Wow. Oh, wow. Wow. There's also been something kind of interesting about cousins with our cultures that I wasn't expecting. It is very common for me and my culture, how I grew up and everything that went into my experiences, to tell my cousins, whether they be boys or girls, that I love them. Like, I love my cousins. It seems very normal and natural to me. But in Spanish, you have different ways to say I love you to family members or friends, or, you know, there's te quiero, which is just like, I love you, man, love you. You know, just like very casual love, or just like, you know, you can tell your guy friends or your girlfriends. But then you have te amo, which is like, hey, I love you. You know, it's like romantic, it's deeper, it's reserved for those really special people in your life, close family, spouses, grandparents, I think. I don't know, you guys will have to let me know if it's for grandparents. I think it is, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before on this channel. Because of those kind of differences in Spanish and how you say I love you to people, it's been a little bit of a shock for Daisy to hear me say I love you to cousins. You know, the first time it happened, you know, we had a big long conversation about it, and we had to try to figure things out and just get on the same page of, again, where we're coming from. And this is not a marriage counseling channel at all, but I'm just here to say communication is a good thing. And the more you communicate, obviously the smoother some of those little differences can be. Something else I just gotta mention again, my experience with Daisy's family and friends in Mexico just could not be any better. They are just so kind and so nice and always so patient with me learning Spanish, wanting me to try different new foods that I haven't tried before, and even ones I have tried before, they know which ones are my favorites and they want to cook that for me. And it's just like always gets me every time, just the kindness and the warmth. All the family parties, you're giving everybody hugs and they're asking about you and asking about my family back in Utah. And it's just hard to describe. It's just a different feel. That's one of my favorite culture differences that I wish that we could try to infuse into the US more and more. And I, for one, just want to try to emulate that in my own life and my own traditions and in our own family culture. That's something that I want to bring in and carry on with it, because I just love it so much. Even though our cultures can be so different in some things, they're like really the same in other ways, and we're all just wanting the same things for each other and for our loved ones, and peace, happiness, a joyful, abundant life. Again, I'm grateful for this chance to be able to kind of have a window to another culture through my wife, and I love learning more and more about it and just helping our relationship to continue to grow with all these things. Y quiero decir para los que están queriendo que yo hablo en español, les quiero mucho. Estoy muy agradecido por la amistad y el gran bienvenido que me han dado. No puedo esperar regresar a México. Y muchas gracias por mirar. Nos estamos viendo. Hasta la próxima. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you do have any questions or comments, please put them below. I love reading them. I will catch you in the next one.